Hello, this is the work in progress update on my 3D printed Snowtrooper. The parts that are masked here are the armor, and today I'm going to work on the soft areas, the fabric. They've been painted also already with airbrush, so the base color is there and pre-shading, but I will apply hand washing. So this is kind of a weathering technique, so I will use a hand brush and apply a thin wash that will just under capillary tension would basically flow into the crevices and create a depth for the scale effect of this model. And it's different from panel lining, which is also kind of a capillary action effect, but I'll save panel lining for the armor parts, and they're masked now, so just to preserve sharp edges. But for the fabric, the imperfections are actually good, so I'm going to use a very watered down the wash, this Valio wash. I found that it works well. It's made for armor vehicles, but it's great for any kind of just shading effect. I'm going to dilute it with water, apply with a very broad brush, and then wipe it out with like a sponge. So the goal is to create a fairly subtle effect, but it will be the foundation for the lighting and shading, so hopefully will work with the subsequent highlighting, which is a conventional dry brushing technique. So here we go. It would probably make sense to try this technique because just the ratio of paint to water and the effect is a little bit unpredictable. This is partly by design, but still I'd like to know what the effect would be in the end. So I'll try it on this arm section. It has all the components also. The armor panel here is masked, and the fabric is going to be weathered and painted now. So this is where I need to be brave. It's the advantage of this is very fast, unlike panel lining, which is kind of a precision technique, which I think best reserved for mechanical looking parts like the metal surfaces, panels of armor, etc. But for the fabric, I'll just cover it like this, but then we'll wipe most of it out. So the effect is hopefully very subdued. I should notice that these parts are also clear coated with matte varnish. That is important because if I had done this washing on just airbrushed parts, this acrylic is very easily rubbed off, especially with water, and it's kind of the brutal application of the white brush and the sponge. So, but here, that's the difference. This is the part before washing and after. Yeah, maybe not much of the effect, but maybe I'll repeat it one more time, see how it goes. I'm thinking perhaps I will not wipe it off as aggressively as I had done the first time, so I'll let the paint kind of stick to the crevices. Yeah, I think I like this more. Well, having said everything about the subtleness of the effect, I kind of like the three-dimensionality. And this is the common thing with all scale models. They are 3D things and artifacts, so they're already lit, but it doesn't mean that they don't require shading like a 2D painting would. And this is because the adjacent surfaces that are at different angles, they reflect light onto each other, and the models in small scale look flatter than a large scale object of the same shape would look under the same lighting. So that's why we shade. So on the subject of armor versus fabric. I talked about this before. I like to create a separation between these parts, even though the 3D printed model has the armor and the fabric covered parts are in one piece. But if we apply different painting techniques, we create an illusion that the model is more complex than what it actually is. The materials behave differently. The armor parts, which are, they are shiny, hard, and they lend themselves well to more controlled painting techniques. So the kind of the image I'm trying to convey when painting armor would be directional lighting, and fabric, which is what I'm painting now, is a kind of a material that absorbs light, and the reflections are spread, so they are not really reflections per se, but the diffused reflected light. For that we use less controlled painting technique also. So this is why I'm using very broad brush, intentionally less controlled application of the wash than what I would achieve with like a tiny panel lining brush or the very controlled airbrushing before. So once the pre-shading and the glossy clear coating has been applied to the armor, so for example this knee pads of this lower body section, then I mask them, and I'll get back to them after the cloth parts are completed. Right, here is the lower body. I think it's okay. So this is an interesting also fluid mechanics aspect to this. The capillary action draws this very hydrophilic liquid paint, the wash, into the small crevices, overcoming the gravity effects. So surface tension beats gravity, and the paint flows into the small crevices, even though I'm actually not reaching them with this wide brush, but the flow takes over. The difference between the washing technique versus gradient building is that the very thin transparent paint just accumulates into the narrow regions, like narrow crevices, small details of the model, and it's nearly transparent elsewhere, and actually on the rising parts I completely wipe it out. So actually this is a different technique. This part it's the same material as the armor, so it's some kind of battery backpack, I suppose, but it's metal, so I'm going to panel line it and see if there will be a difference. So this is the dark gray panel line. I find black is a little bit extreme in most situations, but dark gray sometimes is not enough really, but I'll try it here. Yeah, my base color is pretty thin, so the whole uniform and the armor of the Snowtrooper is white, so it's a bit challenging. You don't want to color it pure white, because then there will be no depth. Finally, there is this glove that holds the gun, I'm going to apply the wash. It's very tempting to just jump and hand paint the gun at this stage, but I think I'll try to be patient and wait for the wash to dry and then carefully paint the gun. It's kind of a different story creating the metal effect, so I'll stick to fabric now. So here we go. It's a bit of a mess, but that's largely everything that I wanted to do. Maybe this base, I'll also give it a quick wash. It's going to be painted separately, but just for the 3D effect, I think it would be good to have those shadows filled with the darker paint. Here we go. So this is the light shading pass of the fabric areas, and I'll come back to it with the highlighting using dry brushing, and then maybe painting some small details like straps on the boots, holsters, etc. And then removing the masking and doing the panel lines on the armor.